Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. Today I'm putting together three bouquets using one flower each, if that makes sense. So one will be a baby's breath bouquet, the other one will be a calla lily bouquet, and then the other one will be a bouquet of stock. But at the end of each bouquet, I'm going to have a bow, with the exception of the calla lilies. I'm going to do something a little bit different. Um, so I'm going to do the bows ahead of time, and that will double as my chenille stem to hold on to it as well. For the stock bouquet, I have some sheer black ribbon that I've put a double face satin ribbon on top of it, just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to give it a couple of little loops on either end. And I'm going to give them some longer tails though too. So this bouquet is going to be made of the line flowers, which is the stock, but you kind of want to carry it off to the side. The tails of the ribbon will give it a little bit more movement since it doesn't have as many flowers in it. It'll give a little bit more interest towards the base of the bouquet itself too. So once I have my loops ready and everything trimmed up, I'm going to use the chenille stem to tie it off. And I had gotten a deal on some Christmas chenille stems, so I do have a red one there that I tied it off with, but I'll show you how to hide it. As I mentioned before, the calla lilies will not have a big bow on it. It's going to have a more cleaner ribbon treatment to it. But for the baby's breath, I'm going to put a nice big double face satin bow. It is shinier on one side than it is on the other, so I want to be careful to have the shinier side up. And I start off by pinching it between my thumb and my pointer finger, and then I flip it over in my hand, and then I'm going to roll a loop over my thumb. That's going to give me that center little loop, and then the loops on either side of that. You can choose how big you want, how little. You could even go a little bit tighter around the thumb if you didn't want quite as big of a gap on it. I'm going to do about 3 of them on either side. And when I do each loop, I pull it to the center real tight, and I give it a spin, a flip over, because I do want that satin to show, or not just satin, it is a double face satin ribbon, but I want the shinier side to show. So I want to make sure that's always flipped up when I do my loops. And then once I have the right number of loops, I'm going to run my chenille stem through there and tie it off. And as mentioned before, this is going to double as the chenille stem that I'm going to use to hold the actual bouquet arrangement too when I tie it off there. That way you don't have quite as many wires and doodads being wrapped around the bouquet that you got to hide. So give a little fluff to each loop there. And then at the end of the ribbons, I kind of want that fancier V shape. So I'm just going to grab my scissors and take the very end. If you fold it in half and then cut at an angle, careful not to cut yourself, you get that nice little V shape. If you're doing prom bouquets, homecoming bouquets, boutonniere, or not boutonnieres, or corsages that you need lots of bows on, you could actually do like a whole row without cutting the bows off, and then just go through and do that cutting treatment to get the little ends into that nice clean V shape. So moving forward with the stock here, I'm going to remove all the leaves. I'm a big advocate of hanging on to everything you remove because everything can be used, but these leaves cannot. So I go ahead and throw them away. I like a cleaner stem on my flowers. I want more focus on the color and the blossom itself, so I like to remove all the leaves from the stems. So stock is a line flower, as mentioned before, because of its shape, obviously. And you see that more used in arrangements for height. You'll see it a lot on presentation bouquets, and even for cascading bouquets, getting that length, draping it forward. It's a good one to drape down. And you can also segment it off and tuck it into a bouquet holder, Oasis foam there, and use just small portions of it, because it does have a very beautiful colors and a wonderful scent to it. It's almost kind of like a sweet cinnamon scent to it. So I'm just going to lay them out as if they were being draped over my arm. And you could carry it, like I said, a presentation style, or you can carry it off to the side. I am adding some artificial spiral eucalyptus just to create a little collar around it, so it's not such a big gap between my bow there and the blossoms itself. Flowers like the calla lilies, they have beautiful kind of gradual green variegation from its actual blossom itself, the color of the blossom itself, into the stem, to where it's almost a really pretty stem to look at. Stock, not so much. It does have that nice kind of green color to it, but I'd rather just focus more on the actual flowers themselves. And then I'm going to tie my bow right around there using that chenille stem to hold everything nice and tight and tie it off. And as mentioned before, stock comes in some really pretty colors. It has a really pretty variety of pinks, purples, creams, and whites. So it's a great wedding flower to consider, especially if you really want that fragrance to it. Once I have my bow tied off, I'm going to kind of trim up the tails there, and then I'm going to wrap it around so that I don't have anything sticking out, poking, hanging down low. Now give that a little tie off, but now I'm stuck with this beautiful arrangement, but a red chenille stem. I can even see it from here. So I'm going to take just a cutting of ribbon there, and I'll cover up the chenille stem and tie it underneath the bow, and I'm going to go around that again and then tie it once more around the top of the bow. Not only because it's a sheer ribbon, so it didn't hide the red at first, but also I want to make sure that that bow stays nice and centered, so that nothing's pushing it up, pushing it down, and it's on there real good. Give a little fluff to the bow. You can add some more tails if you want, but you can see it's all nice and covered, so nobody would know our secret that it's a red chenille stem that you got on sale for Christmas colors. And then you can carry it off to the side as a presentation bouquet. I'd probably measure about 3.5 hands down and cut the stems even on that one. Now onto the baby's breath bouquet. So it's just going to be all baby's breath, and you can really work the baby's breath into the shapes that you want. So it's fun to work with. You can do an oval, you can do more flat, you can go very round. A fun thing about baby's breath too is that it takes color well. So there are spray paints that are made specifically for flowers, or I'd imagine you probably get away with using just normal spray paint too. Probably don't want to douse it in normal spray paint, but if you use the spray paint that's made specifically for flowers, you can give it just a touch of color. I actually did a wedding that had a number of bridesmaids. There's quite a few of them there, but they did all baby's breath bouquets, and then each bridesmaid had just kind of a blush of a different color on the baby's breath. So at first I was a little taken back, but it ended up being really pretty cool. And on top of that, baby's breath is pretty inexpensive. I got these bundles here from the local market, and I feel like it was $5 or something. So you get a nice size bouquet. It's kind of a big show. Takes colors well. You can do different shapes with it, and it's inexpensive. So if you have a budget or have quite a few standing up in your wedding, and it's just going to cost an arm and a leg, consider going this route, just doing a filler flower, baby's breath, and a pretty bow on it. And it does last quite a while out of water too, so you don't have to be concerned about wilting. Since I can get that nice round shape to it, I'm not concerning myself with the collar or greenery. I am going to take my bow and tie it off. And I was lucky enough to have a green chenille stem. So I'll take that, I'll pull it tight, and I'll wrap the tails of the chenille stem around itself again and kind of hide it, make sure nothing's poking out. And I don't necessarily like the look of the chenille stem. You could also take a string of ribbon and hide it the same way I did with the stock before where you just kind of tie it around the chenille stem there. Or you can take some wax floral tape, which I'll show you here in a minute, and hide the chenille stem that way. So the wax floral tape comes in different varieties of green. I just happen to have like more of a darker green here, but there is a lighter green that would match the baby's breath pretty well. I believe there's a link to it in the descriptions. I'll double check and make sure that's there, for a variety of different colored wax floral tape. And you could also go to Hobby Lobby has a variety of tape that's similar to wax flower tape. It's just sticky on one side, but it's glittery. And so there's silver and gold glitter. You could put a little band of that around your ribbon too, especially if that's a prominent color in your wedding there too. So as you can see, I got that all hidden. Give it a little fluff and trim up the stems. I would probably do a couple hands full. I just pulled off that bottom there so that I could actually hold it and not get it stuck on the table. But you can carry it off to the side, in the front, however you choose. And what I have here are mini calla lilies. So they have the bigger calla lilies that come in white. I feel like I've seen them in kind of a creamy color too. I don't think that they have coloring on the larger calla lilies, but the mini ones come in a variety of brighter colors. So they also have a mind of their own, and they'll bend every which way. So you can kind of caress them into going the way that you want. So that guy's got a little bend to him, and if you just gently pull up or pull opposite of the bend there and kind of massage the stem, it will loosen up and go a little bit straighter. So that really helps with designing, although it does take a little bit of time. Now, most bouquets, they're all gathered. Most bouquets that are just calla lilies are all gathered at the top, so that all the blossoms are together. When doing that, I like to have their faces towards each other, so they all kind of face the center of the bouquet, and that just keeps the interest. And as you can see, since I didn't fix all the stems to go straight, I was having quite a hard time getting them all to do what I want to do, but this is always an option for designing just with the mini calla lilies, is just doing all the blossoms into one point there like that. However, that's not how I'm going to arrange it. I'm going to do a little bit more of a presentation style. So again, you can carry it like a Miss America, or you can carry it off to the side, and it's not so much in the way. But you can see the stem of the calla lilies has that beautiful color at the top, and then it kind of variegates its way down to the green, which makes the stem of the calla lily really pretty. I didn't see any reason for any type of greenery, but you could add a little bit of eucalyptus. You could add a little filler, some heather, something like that in there. But the stem's just very clean and elegant, so I thought I'd keep it just like that. I'm going to gently tie off the arrangement with a chenille stem, but of course you don't want the mechanics showing here, so I'm just going to do a band of ribbon. So I have a thicker satin ribbon here. I'm just going to trim off a little piece of it, and then I'm going to simply just wrap it around the chenille stem itself right there, as you can see. So I'll go around a couple of times just to make sure it's nice and hidden. You don't have to pull real tight. Calla lilies do have a tendency to wilt a little bit faster than other flowers too. So if you do it ahead, just make sure it's in water, especially overnight. Try to keep them in water for as long as you can. But I know it's, you know, they have to come out of water eventually, but but as long as you can keep them in the water, that would be best because they are a thirsty flower. So I tuck in my ribbon in the back there so it doesn't fray. And I'm just going to take some corsage pins and push them right into the ribbon there. You can trim them up if your ribbon isn't as thick as mine, because you don't want that pin to poke out on the other side or poke up through the top. That would be terrible if it stabs somebody in the hand, especially a person carrying it. You don't want blood everywhere. But just gives that little bit of band on the stems, a place to put your hands, kind of a finishing point. And there we go. We've got monoflower bouquets. So one flower bouquets and mini calla lilies, baby's breath, and then the line flower called stock. All right. Thank you so much for watching.